Damn, we actually look professional now. That's that's pretty nice. That intro is courtesy of our friend Mad Marty at Mad Barber Entertainment. It's pretty good. What do you think, Slender?
Mad Mardigan. I thought it was Mad Gizmo.
He goes by many names.
He is a man of many names. Speaking of
He's
many names, that's one of the first fucking things that gets said in this thing too. We're about to watch it.
so all right. So just to give everybody the idea of where we're going, this week's episode is going to be a deep dive into Witcher Blood Origins because Slender, our co-host here, actually braved watching. You made it through all 4 episodes?
I mean, it was 4 hours, and it took me about 7 hours to get through all four of them because there was a lot of stopping it and then going and telling my wife all about what had just happened in the show and how stupid it was, and then going and telling my daughters what had just happened in the show and how stupid it was, and then go telling my son what had happened in the show and how stupid it was. And on several occasions, I would be like, I can't even describe it. Just come look. Just come look at what happens here.
What had happened was the show was terrible, and you just had to get through it. That's commitment.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you did that, and I didn't because I've canceled my Netflix subscription. I was just tired of paying higher and ever increasing fees for what amounted to ass terrible content.
What
So
amounted to Cobra Kai. That's
yeah,
pretty much it.
basically, yeah. So what I'm gonna probably do is just re up my subscription once a year to watch Cobra Kai, and that'll be about it.
Yep.
So, that being said, all right. So, I'm looking forward to this because I've been hearing on the internets
I
that
heard some
Witcher,
things.
that Witcher Blood Origin is pretty ass. That it's
Oh my
terrible.
god. Here's the thing though, right? I'm looking right now. Here, I'll share. Let me share.
Well,
Share.
I sure. Well, as the on air producer making things happen, I will add this screen. Oh my gosh, that's gone up. So the audience score had been down, I think, around like 8%. I guess
Yeah.
it's gone up a whole 4% to 12%, which
At
is
its lowest, it was actually at 7%. I've been following it very closely since Monday, and at its lowest, it was at 7%. Then
that's
they got
pretty.
rid of like several hundred reviews, but yeah, at its
Can
lowest,
you?
7%. So it's
But
climbing.
can you really say that they're not accurate reviews when it's at 7%? Like when I see all these in the past, when I've seen Rotten Tomatoes events where they say people have review bombed an item, it'll be down maybe 40-50%.
Well, let's dig in, and I can tell you if these reviews are being honest.
Let's go. You move it along and
We'll
find
start
ones you
right
want.
here with the first review that happened apparently 19 minutes ago. Terrible costume design, set design, directing, cinematography, editing, VFX, and the absolute worst writing I've ever seen. It sounds like they watched this. Forget that this is supposed to take place in the Witcher universe and any Witcher canon, and it's still the worst show I've seen in at least a decade. The fact that it takes a dump all over the source material and its fan base, and even contradicts, okay, the canon of the main show just makes it even worse. The showrunners should be fired yesterday.
Ooh, it should be
That
fired
sounds
and
like
be fired yesterday.
that sounds like pretty accurate review, if I'm honest. The next one, respect the source material. That also sounds like a pretty accurate review.
Yeah, and what's funny is those are the ones that people are trying to flag and say these are just Henry Cavill stands, they're video game bros who want to have you respect the source material. I was like, well,
Well,
maybe
and
that's
even take
because they're fans and they like that.
yeah, no shit, right? But even take this. This is a 4-star review. So this is probably one of the love bombs that's happening because I feel like there's a lot that are just being done to be contrary. But thoroughly enjoyed the show. Loved the visuals, the acting, and the way it was narrated more from a historical perspective. It could have benefited from more episodes, though, to give the story a little bit more room to breathe. So I think cutting it down to 4 episodes might have been a mistake, but then again, the narrative structure might have worked better this way. Still, the finale felt a bit rushed, especially regarding Balor, which is why I'm only giving it 4 points. What I did like about the last episode, though, was that there was quite some nods and a bit of foreshadowing towards the main show. So my main regret is that we probably won't see how the story continues for the main characters of Blood Origins. And thank God for that.
I'm going to say that seems like the absolute most minority of minority views, hoping that it had gotten more episodes in the season and then wanting more episodes in the future. Because
They're
I
not
try to
wrong, but here's the thing. When they say the finale felt a bit rushed, we'll probably get to it. Fair warning for anyone who wants to see this pile of human excrement, but there's going to be spoilers ahead. I'm going to pull clips. I'm going to show specific things. I'm going to deep dive into why those things are stupid and asinine. But like when he says he or she, Eluaralan, I don't know. When this person says it felt a bit rushed, the big bad, the big scary monster, right? Which is one of 2 monsters that appears in the entire series. But the big scary monster that they fight at the end has all of 45 seconds of screen time where they're actually fighting it. They resolve the final battle with the big bad monster in about 45 seconds.
Can I just, from what I understand of the whole premise of this spin-off prequel, is it supposed to go into the first Witchers, right? That like how they created Witchers to begin with. And the whole point of a Witcher is to fight monsters.
Yes.
Just as without getting into the full deep dive that we're going to do later, does the Witcher that is the first Witcher in this show, is that Witcher even involved in fighting this monster at the end?
Yes, it kills it with one shot.
It one shots it? Does it quick scope it like in Call of Duty?
Yeah, more or less.
It does a fantasy quick
I'm surprised it didn't do a 360 before the no scope, but and then if I remember correctly, because the names mean fuck all to me, I basically just gave them all titles that had nothing to do with their names. But if Balor is the chief magister, yeah, their fight with him involved him using his hand flamethrowers for about 12 seconds. But they hid behind a pillar and he didn't think to go around the pillar. So he just kept shooting hand flamethrowers at the pillar.
I'm going to take it back. This is very much like a video game. You learn the pattern, wait for the boss to go through their
yeah, but he was programmed with the worst AI because he didn't even try to like move around the pillar. But then they jump out from behind the pillar, they hit him with a couple of concussive blasts, and then they wrap him up in vines and destroy everything and then win.
Well, that sounds anticlimactic.
Yeah, well, the 2 big bads were resolved in less than 2 minutes of a 4-hour series. So
that seems like bad planning to say the least. All right there.
Yeah. Enjoyable vistas with, at times, some decent cinematography and interesting takes on what the Witcher universe could look like. With that said, the story building, character progressions, and world lore have all been more or less thrown to the wayside, especially if you are set to see at least some guidance from the source material by Andrzej, that guy, Sapkowski.
The original Polish writer.
Yeah.
Polish writer.
I sighed my way through most of it and could not help but be disappointed by the myriad of seemingly mandatory inclusivity where none was actually needed. All in all, a solid but quite sadly decided 1.5 out of 5. Loved the original series, will most likely not continue to follow the series as it evolves.
I don't think this series is going to get a chance to evolve. I'm just going to spoil it.
I hope it doesn't get a chance to evolve. Like look at how many half stars there are here. Yeah, here's that love bombing I was talking about. Like this one. I love this show. Good characters and good action. I hope they do more. You didn't watch this show. You did not watch this show. In the 4 hours that I watched it, there was very little action, and the characters were either gross exaggerations of what a character should be, or two-dimensional cardboard cutouts. There was no middle ground. No character was compelling. I think the closest that they even got to a compelling character was maybe the princess who eventually becomes the empress, but her character was so back and forth that she never settled into a role. And here's the thing, and this would be the one thing that I would say is probably my hot take. I didn't think the actors did a bad job, but like, let's say we go into the culinary world. If I take a shit in a bowl and hand it to Gordon Ramsay, even at his skill level, he's not going to be able to make a masterpiece out of it. Like, it's still going to taste like shit. And that's what they gave these actors.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around the. You're saying you're going to give Gordon Ramsay for ingredients just a steaming pile of crap, and say, "Do this." Here's the thing, though, because I don't think that's a fair statement. Because the showrunner would be the chef.
Yeah.
And in this case, I feel like the showrunner would have actually gone out to the store and instead of buying really good ingredients, would have gone to the homeless person and said, "Here's a bowl. Can you take a shit in it? I'd like to make something later." Because it seems like this is all by choice. Oh wait, let's look at what is that review from Chase A that's a little further down on the screen right there. Because that one is apparently calling us all haters. Well, not me, because I didn't watch it, but you. You
Seems
apparently
like
are a
lot
hater.
of haters from the hardcore Witcher book game people. But as someone who has never read the books or played the games, I gotta say I'm enjoying it a lot. Keeps the same mix of levity and dark fantasy as the previous released Netflix Witcher series. Chase A, I don't know who you are, but you're a fucking idiot. And if I could gatekeep you out of The Witcher, I would.
No, now that is tough but fair. Tough but fair. I think. Oh, this is terrible. Poor
And then we
Chase
go
A.
right back into the 1.5 stars. Like, notice all these 4 and 5 stars. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't even describe what they like about it. Some very harsh reviews. As an origin story, I found this very entertaining and a good introduction to the lore of the Witchers. It would have been weird to have Geralt as a character in this, but I really liked the tie-in with Jaskier. A great
Jasker.
watch. Yeah, a great watch, but wish it was expanded a bit more than the 4 episodes. Okay, what'd you like about it? What was good about it? You didn't say anything other than that you liked the tie-in with Jaskier, who is in this series for all of 2.5 minutes, maybe 3.
Does he sing "Toss a Coin to Your Witcher" in those 2 minutes?
He does not sing at all. In fact, he has the first line in the series. It's terrible. You know how they open the series up? You know how they get you really immersed in the world that they're about to take you on an adventure through?
I think I know the most. How do I put this? The best way that I've ever seen any fantasy show or movie just introduce their fans or viewers or whatever you want to describe them to the universe was the Fellowship of the Ring with the prologue. It was shot in a very good, like it gave you information you needed to be ready to step into that world. It was entertainingly done, and you could see the production value in it. The way Kate Blanchett does the voiceover in it, you know what I'm talking about. And then when Sauron comes out and starts like wrecking shop, like just knocking people over. I mean, there's a lot of gravitas. That to me is the absolute best way to introduce people to a fantasy environment where they may not have any inclination to it at all before.
You know what's even better than that, though?
What's even better?
What's better than that is if you have a pansy-ass bard running through the middle of a battlefield with his hands tied together going, fuck, fucking fuck, fuckity fuck, fuck.
Wait a second. Those are the introductory? You said these are the first words of the show.
These are the first words of the show.
Is there a chance we might have a ability to view, not listen, but maybe see how this was produced and put on screen?
Yeah. It's gonna be jarring, just letting you know.
Of ballads, brawlers, and what was that title?
They make every one of them sound like kind of a bard's tale. But this is where it opens up. And even
dramatic music.
Yeah, even the opening is crap to me. I actually hate the way that they open this thing up. My wife watched it with me and she left after about 20, 30 seconds because she didn't like looking at this. Tell me if you notice something weird.
Right now I see just a blank screen. I'm wondering, is that maybe is Netflix being silly?
Oh, Netflix might be being silly. Still blank, huh?
Blank, you know what? It's probably better this way. It's just probably better this way.
Probably.
I can see it in the, like, when you're trying to fast forward through the, like where it has like the scenes on the
little
the
scene
slider
thing there, but you can't see the screen.
Yeah,
That's
can you
interesting. What if I do this number? Nope, still doesn't look like it's going to let you see it.
No.
I wonder if that's a Netflix protection of some kind.
Darn copyright protection.
All right. Well, either way, it opens up. I can describe it. It opens up.
I think it's actually more fun when you do it, when you describe it.
It opens up with them filming it upside down.
Why?
I don't know.
Is it supposed to is like someone being hung by their ankles or something?
Nope. It's just upside down. And then they pan backwards and you see some fighting happen and you see some people fall on the ground and get killed because it's a battle, right? And then with the camera still upside down, Jaskier falls in front of the camera and then the camera does a full 180 when he gets back up. Like it gets up with him. It's really jarring. It actually kind of gives you a little bit of weird motion sickness because it's so stupid looking. But then there's that line, that fuckity fuck.
Was it at least delivered well? Like, did he seem like he was committed or was acting it well?
Maybe. Let's see if I can find it. Can you hear the audio, I wonder? Do you hear the audio?
It's not playing yet.
Oh, it must block the audio too.
No, but I see the subtitle.
You saw the subtitles?
Yeah, the subtitles are coming up on the screen.
So you saw what he said?
No. Yeah, so yep. It was that was a stupid line. That was the first line of the series.
I think the first line is actually him saying no, but I didn't even hear him say no. This was the first line I heard. And then from there, there's a weird thing where he's about to get axed in the face, but time freezes. And yeah, oh wow, he says this is weird. He doesn't run away or anything. He just stands here with all these people frozen in time around him and starts looking for people. Now this Hello Sandpiper, and this is new, right? This is him looking at him. Like whatever creature has appeared before him looks like him, only not in dirty rags and covered in mud, right?
So he's looking at himself now. That's how we move on.
Yeah, he's looking at himself, and here is what he has to say about looking at himself. Where does he say it? Yeah, there it is.
I'm not good looking man. Of course
Yes.
they're gonna make those jokes. That's like
So
standard issue.
he runs into a godlike creature that can freeze time all around him and is looking just like him and has already slapped him in the face at this point. And he tells the creature, "I'm not into it." So the second major line he has is, "Yeah, I want to fuck myself." And then we kind of jump into like that whole thing happens, and the creature teleports him to the as far as I can tell, it's Stonehenge, like fantasy Stonehenge, and now it's a female elf with a lot of Botox. The lines in her forehead do not appear because she is incapable of emoting in any way because of all the Botox. And she tells him that she needs him to sing a story back into existence, which is the story of the first Witcher, right? I don't have a problem with any of this, but it's a really weird, jarring opening that doesn't really set the stage. And we pretty much never come back to it. It's not like we come back to it every once in a while and they discuss it or anything. We see them in this first scene, and then I think we see them for a handful of seconds at the very end. So it's like, okay, you spent all this time setting up. You spent basically the first let's see here. Yeah, the first 7 or so minutes just setting this nonsense up with your silly storytelling thing, and then we never really come back to it. We briefly touch it at the very end, and that's it. So that was weird. I hate that you guys can't see the screen, though. I wonder if there's a way to fix that.
Stop. Share just the tab, maybe. Hit stop sharing. Share just the specific tab.
Present. Share screen. Share screen.
You always. It's fun for the audience. They get to. You know, if you're listening to the audio version, this is really fun for you because this is.
Oh, that looks a little more like what we need to see.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. We figured it out.
We figured it out. We suck, but now we don't suck quite as bad.
Yep.
But yeah, because and here we go. Yeah, this is who he's looking at, right? This is him looking at himself.
And that's interesting. They have him wearing a little. Yeah, so everyone's frozen. Wait, Mini Driver? Mini Driver's in it?
Yeah, she's super non-emotive and really phones it in, but whatever.
Well, the non-emotive part is probably from the plastic surgery she's had. I think looks like filler. If you,
a lot of
probably
Botox. In that
Botox.
face.
Yeah, she's just not emoting from lack of ability to do so.
But then we intro into our brave hero who is going to lead the seven samurai against the. I mean, wait, no, not the seven samurai. Lead the seven intrepid heroes against the unstoppable empire.
Certainly looks stunning and brave.
Yeah, well, she's stunning and brave. You want to see the first thing she does in this whole thing? And oh, by the way, these elves, they aren't even elves. They're just humans with pointy ears. So the very first thing that happens...
as someone who has an elf appreciation, just to put it mildly, that's probably very bothersome to you.
A little bit. Kind of pisses me off. Not as much as something else that we'll get to, I promise. But the very first thing that the elves do, right? She's in here doing her bard thing because she's like apparently a badass warrior, but also the greatest singer. And then we have to have some misogyny. We just got to get that in as quick as we can, right?
Well, I mean, if there's elves doing it, is it really misogyny, or should it be a different word for it?
It's melpsogyny. I don't know. But then
Wait, did
so
she just offered to let him drink for free, and she got the backhand for this?
yeah, he backhanded her because he's like, I
So
don't need to drink for free. I'm feeling rapey right now.
I feel like this movie. This must be written by Yeti, because this clearly fits within
Because they
his.
wasted no time.
They wasted no time. They went right to it. So Yeti Cast is clearly a writer on Witcher Blood Origin.
Yeah, but needless to say, and we'll skip it because I felt it was kind of irrelevant anyway. She kicks the shit out of him and his buddies. And then we get to this thing. And like, this is the princess, right? And this is her bodyguard. And for some reason, I think that's the king. But like, for some reason, they're just riding through the streets and there's an assassination attempt and some shit goes down. And like, this elf fights nothing like an elf. He,
Aren't elves supposed to fight like super graceful and capable? Like
yeah, but he
I think
uses
of
an axe.
Legolas. Yeah,
But he's like a berserker elf, I guess. He's from Dog Clan. But yeah,
that didn't even look like the axe would have made contact. It looked like it was sideways.
it wouldn't have, if I'm honest. It's a pretty terrible fight scene. But we'll skip ahead and then like she's like, "Oh, you've been my bodyguard for so long. Let's fuck." And he's like, "I'm not supposed to fuck you." And she's like, "Let's do it anyway." And he's like, "Okay." And that all happens. And then they catch him. They catch him in the act. And it's like, "Oh, you weren't supposed to have sex with the princess, so you're banished." And they banish him.
That seems like she was trying to get rid of him on purpose.
She definitely didn't care when he was gone. Like look, this is the scene where he's banished, right? And in the very next scene, she's like, "Man, I just love these books. They're so great. I'm so happy. Life's cool. Look at me. I'm cool." Like, dang, you just didn't even care, huh? And then he tells her that, like, "Hey, listen, I got this whole peace treaty thing going on, but in order to get them to sign, like that king of the other clan, he's a widower and you should marry him. So I'd like you to marry him." And she's like, "Okay." She's not happy about it, but like she kind of begrudgingly says she's okay with it. And then they introduce Michelle Yeoh in the stupidest way possible. She's apparently I don't know, trying to divine why it's cloudy out. And apparently it's not just weather, it's cloudy out because of this weird fucking thing, this monolith that this dude is messing with. And he's opening a portal to another world and talking to this thing. This apparently this blue sprite, this Will-O-Wisp is apparently like metaverse god who can give him
Yeah, you saw the comment, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
this,
Grant, you're missing it. We just saw in the. Hopefully, you may have heard us talk about it. In the first couple minutes, a woman gets backhand slapped after offering men free drinks. So clearly, Yeti was writing on Witcher Blood Origin, or was somehow involved in the production.
I mean, clearly, this could be a movies with Mad or like a TV series with Mad. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like this would lower our standards if we watched this one.
I feel like most of the movies we've watched are better than this.
I mean, was it Robo Samurai or Robo
Vampire?
Robo Vampire was a effing masterpiece compared to this. Because I don't blame movies that have low budgets for being low budget, but when things have everything going for them, I just can't stand when they're terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, this dude's talking to Will-O-Wisp, god of the metaverse world that he's in for some reason. And like, I guess it's going to give him power and he's going to use that power to just fucking unite the kingdoms or something. Then there's this girl and she's talking to the girl that she protected from the big mean misogynists. And this conversation is pointless, but apparently this girl has visions and they're never wrong. And then she has like a weird vision of her. And then the city guard comes to arrest her because she, like, I shit you not, like stabbed a guy a couple of times, I think. And they put her in this jail. And who does she find in the jail but this guy? And since she's Raven Clan and he's Dog Clan, apparently they've killed each other. Like their people have killed each other before because all the clans have been at war for 1,000 years. And so they don't like each other and they talk shit. And she somehow kind of beats him up. Like, I shit you not, she somehow kind of beats him up. Because, like, right here, right? Yeah, this is the spot.
This was the dude who was the bodyguard for the princess slash and king, basically, of a major country.
Yep. And now watch this beauty.
Just before we start, aren't those people generally supposed to be very capable when they get to be the bodyguard?
Right, but she's a raven. And the Raven clan,
Is she a raven? Like, but is she a Ravenclaw? Like, are we mixing Harry Potter stuff in here now too?
No. Well, I mean, this makes me like Harry Potter, and I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, as you know. But she's from Clan Raven, and apparently they're excellent warriors as well. And in all honesty, I don't know which clan isn't supposed to be great warriors, because I guess it's just all elves are great warriors. And by the way, this world is primarily consistent of elves. There are no humans in this world whatsoever, and there are some dwarves apparently. That is the layout, right? But watch this fight. This is some of this great fighting that they talk about. It's a really amazing fight. Isn't it great? Wow, some good fighting there. And she somehow just shrugged off 2 punches directly to the face from a guy twice her size.
Did he just try kneeing her in the groin like she was a dude?
That actually does hurt. Like, that will do some damage.
I know it would hurt, but let's
go
over the fact he should be able to just pick her up and throw her across the room. She's like 90 pounds.
Yeah, and the 2 downward punches to the face probably would have done a lot more damage to her, right? But if you recall, she clawed his eyes out and punched him in the stomach. So look at her, rip roaring and ready to go. He looks kind of punch drunk. They had her kick his ass.
You ever seen, like, when they do in wrestling? Like, I mean, it's clearly fake, right? Whatever. Yeah, but when they have like the little guy wrestler go up against the the bigger guy wrestlers, and they just pick them up and just throw them across the entire ring.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it should work in real life. Like, when these 90-pound girls go up what I appreciated about when Marvel first kind of brought Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow in,
yeah,
they made a distinct fighting style for her that would suit not actually grappling with men. Like, it was a point of being acrobatic, avoiding grappling, getting out of moves quickly, and then using body weight and positioning to be able to fight. Like, anyway. What we've seen since then is that somehow the fighting methods have evolved where now these girls are just going toe to toe, grappling with these 200-pound or plus dudes, and then winning.
And that wasn't toe to toe. Look at the way he's holding himself. He is supposed to look like he's a little punch drunk, like he took a beating, and she's just ready to go. Like, this is a she kicked his ass situation, and they wanted to present it that way.
All right. Yeah, let's continue, because this is just frustrating already.
So we'll skip some of this. This is where the king basically tells all of his advisors, no, we're not going to keep fighting. We're going to, oh, by the way, if I can get back to it, because I went away from it. That right there.
Oh, there's obviously not any food shortages in the kingdom.
You can't say anything about her, though, because she's the deaf one that speaks in sign language and doesn't actually.
Were they using American Sign Language?
Yes.
Yes. That's my favorite part.
Yes, they were.
When they cast people who are hearing impaired,
yeah,
deaf, whatever, terminology, they have them use American Sign Language. Like, somehow American Sign Language would be the language for deaf people across all multiverses and fantasy realms, and it's silly.
And thank God they don't have any sort of incantations that are required for their wizards, or she'd be the worst apprentice ever. But the even funnier part to me is, and I agree with you, like, the American Sign Language was just stupid looking to me. It made no sense. Honestly, this woman should either she really wanted the paycheck, or she did not care that, I mean, she was a trophy. They just held her up as a physical embodiment of a pat on the back for themselves. Because again, spoiler alert, if you really want to watch this show and see all the crazy twists and turns, she says very little, almost nothing. Mostly she just stands next to him the whole time. And then at the end, she is his Gamora. Because in order for him to achieve absolute power and gain control of the chaos magic, he must sacrifice that which is the most dear to him. So he kills her. That's how he gets the chaos magic. So she has like 3 lines all
He
signed
should have
out.
just talked to Sonic because he could have got the Chaos Emerald.
Yeah, well,
then we'd be fine.
She has about 3 lines, all done in American Sign Language, one of which is, "You shouldn't trust this bitch," or something like that, because
there's an actual sign
stop
language
writing.
word for bitch, or are you just
No, well, that's what it said. That's what the subtitles said. Okay.
you know what? It's funny now. Keep going. I'm gonna actually look up for American Sign Language.
But yeah, they wanted him to have his Thanos moment where he had to sacrifice that which was the most dear to him, and so he killed her. And like, there's never even any character building where you see that they have a strong relationship and he truly cares for her. There's nothing like that. So like, she has like 3 lines, none of them really matter. They're all throwaway lines, and then she gets murdered. That was the whole point. Like, terrible writing. Terrible writing. But yeah, he tells them, I'm gonna broker this peace treaty, and we're gonna have like peace for the first time in 1,000 years, and it's gonna be great. So shut up, General. We're not going to war. And the general and the chief magister are apparently not very happy about that, but whatever. And then somehow this guy who just got like exiled yesterday, this is his cousin. Yes, this dude is his cousin, who somehow tracked him down after he was exiled.
Okay.
To let him know, hey, we're signing a big peace treaty and we want you back so that you can be at the signing of the peace accords. And he goes, no, fuck you guys. And he walks away. That is all you will ever see of this guy. Moving on. And can you see the striking resemblance? I mean, those two are definitely family.
So this is another thing that is off-putting about modern current year storytelling.
Yeah.
Even if they want to push diverse lineups,
yeah,
the idea of mixing everybody of whatever group into familial tribal units, does not work.
You know what would have worked a lot better is if
they made each
your diverse cast.
You could have regional sects, right? Like, or
this dude could be another member of Raven Clan, but apparently he's a fellow member of Dog Clan, and not only that, but they're cousins.
It doesn't. So it makes more sense. Like, you look at our world as an example, and we're casting people from the planet Earth to make these series.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we have distinct ethnic groups is because of evolutionary traits that developed across geographic regions.
And that's right? The thing. Here's the other big issue I have with it, right? Like, you could have easily had the 3 clans, but these are 3 clans in small countries that all border each other. You would not have this kind of biodiversity in the elven race. You just wouldn't. Like, they'd all kind of evolved along the same lines if they'd been there for 1,000 years. I'm sorry.
Well, it would. I mean, it would be very similar to any other region of the planet Earth, where in Europe you had distinct tribal and ethnic groups, but they were still similar in look. Same in Africa, same in China or Asia, what became China, but China is a very big section of Asia versus India, which is another part of Asia that has a distinct group. I mean, you can have different tribes within, nation states, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You could I mean, we use the term nations when we talk about Native American, like the First Nations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there's distinct Native American groups. There's Cherokee, there's Apache, there's Powhatan. Like there's a whole bunch of different groups. They have distinct tribal heritage with different ways of doing things, but
Yep.
they still have a general similar look. you
Yep.
know and that's going to be true. Like, there's Vikings have a very different heritage and setup when they were going around versus the British over in Britain, the actual Brits, like, or the what did they call the Scottish people back then, the Picts,
The
or
Picts.
whatever. Yeah, so but at the same time, shocking, they kind of looked fairly similar. you
Yeah.
know, because they're coming from a geographic region that's going to produce a certain type of group because of adaptability. It just takes you out of the equation. It's just one of those things that's off-putting. People have we talk about the uncanny valley when it comes to special effects when you're making computer generated graphics, and how
Yeah.
if you do things that people just mentally subconsciously know isn't right, it makes it not fun to watch. They're breaking the uncanny valley by doing this stuff because we all understand how the diversity within the planet Earth developed. It
Well,
developed regionally before we all intermingled because travel became a thing.
yeah. And the other issue here is like they're so like it's so back and forth, right? Like we're gonna have all this diversity and everything, but like I can't tell who's in what faction, nothing until they announce it to me. Because like, look at that dude. Like, it's not like he's wearing something similar to what the other dog clan members I saw is wearing. He's just wearing some random shit they threw on him, you know? Like nothing about him says dog clan to me. If I would have been before they started talking, I would have been more likely to think, oh, this must be another assassin from Raven Clan come to fucking get him, you know? Apparently Raven Clan really doesn't like this guy.
So in the first two seasons of the Witcher proper series, the one Henry Cavill just left, which
Yeah,
he
yeah,
he
yeah.
finished filming his third season, but one thing that they did do, and maybe this was at Cavill's insistence, the different nations of the Witcher universe had distinct designs. Like the clothing they wore, the armor, the look was distinct to different countries.
Yeah, and it should be. So you even if it's a
Exactly.
little even if it's a little over the top to have such glaringly different uniforms that every soldier seems to be wearing and most of them are usually in pretty good condition. Yes, that's a little bit far-fetched because, one, how could they put together that many like pristine uniforms? Two, like they'd probably be in various states of disrepair depending upon how long they were there and how well a soldier maintained his gear, etc. Yes, we get that, but it is a bit of surreal that makes up for a lot of difficulty for me to register what the hell is going on, because it's easy for me to identify who that person is and therefore also what their motivations are, who they're allied with, who they like, who they don't like, their faction, etc. I can get a whole bunch of information just by being able to see what they look like on vision alone. But when you just mixed it all up like this and you're like diverse, 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 there's nothing for me to look at to go, okay, that guy's this, that guy's that, that guy's that. They do it on a smaller scale, but like in the bigger picture, yeah, it's just like if a new person comes on screen, you never know. You just never know. But I mean, we're what, 40 plus minutes in already and we've barely gotten halfway through episode 1. This may be the topic of our show for a couple of weeks.
It's gonna be a topic for you because I'm just for me it's more like they did what
Yeah, yeah.
they did this. Are you serious?
But of course, because this guy is our big dumb brute who we're only supposed to kind of like right now, he says, "No, I'm not going back. Screw you." And then he's like, I'm gonna go to the brothel and oh, check out these ladies and also this guy and like we can satisfy your needs and but you got to pay us." And he's like, Oh well, I don't have any money, so I guess I'll give you my pen. Oh no, where's my pendant? And I think I gave it away a little, but if you go a little further forward, oh, she only attacked him to steal his pendant, and now she's using it to pick a lock because reasons.
In the Witcher universe, because I feel like I didn't play enough of the games or read the book. Do elves have any distinctly magical or specific traits besides the ears? Like, do they give them anything to make them a distinct group away from just being humans with pointy ears? Because in the Witcher universe, I know we've got mages and we've got the magicians. There's all people who can use magic, so you don't have to be an elf to use magic. So what makes this, may be a weird question to ask this deep into the first episode that we're going through, but I feel like it makes sense. Like, why are we even describe, like, why are elves even a special separate group anyway? Because it looks like all we've got is elves, and you said elves, and I believe they use little people in in these movie shows to be their dwarfs.
Yes,
Which I'm
they
sure
definitely do not use.
Why isn't Peter Dinklage up on this one like he is on the Snow White people for using that? But
I
whatever.
guess
So
because she was just such a great cast member. Yeah, no. But here's the thing: elves can use magic. That's generally a thing. If I remember correctly, because it's been a while since I played the games, and I am only familiar with some of the lore from the books, as I have never read them from cover to cover. I've just talked about it with people who have read them. But like the whole thing of this is, it's telling the story of the creation of the first Witcher and the convergence of the spheres, which is basically when all the worlds kind of collide and elves and humans and dwarves and monsters and everything else all end up in the same world as a result of this convergence of the spheres, right? That being said, in later lore, so far as I understood, human men were the only ones who could become witchers. Now, is it impossible for a woman to become a witcher? I'm not sure, but generally it was determined that, like,
it must not be impossible because they were going to make Ciri a Witcher, right? Isn't she like Witcher?
I don't know if Ciri's ever technically gone through the trial of grasses. Ciri is like I said, it's been a while since I played the games. I need to go back and play 3 again because I never did get into several of the expansions. But Ciri, I don't know if she was technically ever went through the trial of grasses. I know she trained with the Witchers, so she has the Witcher training and the understanding. But I don't know if she is officially a Witcher. She's something else technically, and she may be that exception to the rule. The rule was, generally speaking, that it was only human males because only human males had the necessary constitution to survive the trial of the grasses. Because basically you're taking a whole bunch of alchemical concoctions and mutagens and shit, and most of the men who even do it die. Like, it usually kills you. So they were like, well, I don't know if we really want to be trying this with women, because, like, if 90% of the men who go through the trial die, we're going to be killing like 99.9% of the women who go through the trial.
Yes. And so is this woman also, is this our first Witcher? Is that who this character is?
No, there is a bait and switch. She is not the first Witcher. It's worse than that, actually. But we'll get into that if we make it that far tonight. But we'll see.
Is she not the first Witcher, but she has to do things for the first Witcher?
I don't want to give it away until we get there.
Okay, let's keep going.
I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to not destroy the entire ending because I want you to have the what the fuck moment that I had when they did all the stupid shit at the end. But so she escaped the cell, and she's like, apparently when you escape the cell, like the guards are just like, well, you're out, cool. Like, or they just never saw her after that. But she went right back to the house with the little girl that she saved from the misogynist, and for some reason, her sister is there. And her sister came to tell her, hey, we're signing this cool peace treaty and we want you there at the signing. So you should totally come back even though you left. And she goes, no, I don't want to come back. Are you seeing a pattern here? And then she gets her loot back, and she hugs this
So
girl.
she's obviously like royalty, right? If she's being invited to the peace treaty signing.
Yeah, I think she's somehow like aligned with the royal family. I don't know. I don't care. They never really get into it, and it doesn't fucking matter anyway. But then she hugs this girl, and since she touched this girl had a vision and had some fits and some crazy, stupid camera work happened. And she's like, two become one, change the fate of the world, blah blah blah. And then she's done. And her visions always
her vision was like a Spice Girls song.
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
When two become one. You remember that one? Yeah.
Yeah, and then mom says like her visions always come true, and she's like, oh well, then I've changed my mind. I will go to the signing of the peace treaty. Cool. And then oh look at that! As they're walking toward the dock, her sister got shot with an arrow. And I'm gonna play this and see if we can get away with it. I'm not gonna do audio, but I need to commentate some things that are happening because this is the first really big fight scene to happen. And it's hot fucking garbage.
Let's see. Let's do it.
Now, do you see how far away those buildings in the background are, right? They're pretty far, especially this one on the left. And from the look of that arrow, it must have come from over there by that building, right? And there's another one.
That one was pretty, and that had a lot of force behind it.
It had a lot of force behind it.
It also was a straight, like, so that wasn't so, knowing a little bit, watching, specials about how the longbow helped England win a lot of fights. When you're doing a long distance shot, you tend to have a high arcing shot to go up and then come down far away. That one was a straight on, like Robin Hood at the target practice kind of shot. Yep. So that would mean that somebody should be fairly close to be making that kind of shot with an arrow.
Not too close, though. You can get a pretty decent range on those shots.
They're not like 200 yards away.
No, they're not 200 yards away. As a matter of fact, according to this, they're over there, which seems like a significant enough distance. And he's taking the shot, right? Now watch, count the time between when he fires and when it goes to her. Shot, right? Hits. That's a decent distance. That's at least half a second, which means that thing probably traveled more than 100 feet.
I mean, yeah, I would think that's a given.
About 100 feet. We'll say at the short end, probably at least 100 feet. At the long end, and I might say maybe it's 80 feet. But then, did you see what she did there?
Did she just throw a knife?
She threw two of those little darts that she keeps secreted away in her little guitar violin thing.
There was no. I'm going to be to use some video game terminology. There was no lag between when she let loose the knives and when they hit the chest.
Yes,
it was instantaneous.
They appeared to fly faster, hand thrown, than the arrow that was fired at her. Furthermore, I can tell you right now, little throwing weapons like that, their effective range is 20, 30 feet at the most.
Only more if you're the New York Ninja.
Yeah, and yeah, if you're the New York Ninja, well, that's a totally different story. But for like a stupid, pretty normal elf, 20, 30 feet at most, and they're not going to be lethal at that kind of range. They're going to hurt if they go, but they're not going to be lethal. From the distance she threw them at, they were traveling entirely too fast, entirely too straight, and they probably would not have even penetrated the clothing he was wearing. But he's dead. He's dead. She killed him with that.
Yeah, in this type of era, this medieval fantasy era, an assassin warrior soldier is going to have some kind of armor. Like they might have, leather, or they might have chain. They're going to have something where at that distance, a little throwing knife should not be penetrating.
No, but it did. It did. It stabbed right into him, and they killed him. But and I lovingly refer to him as Larry. That was Larry the assassin, right? And
Is he
here's the
like
thing.
Larry the Cable Guy because he get her done? Yeah.
Well, I mean, he got her done.
Well, he did his job, right? The other girl the wasn't the person he was trying to get.
Oh no, 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 no. Here's the thing. Somehow, after that shit happened, she just knew there's a whole bunch of assassins. She knows. She just knew. She
Can
didn't
I
think,
just go back? Can we go back to that like super cool, like someone storyboarded that, like her throwing the cloak off and pulling the daggers, like to show how amazing girl boss she is.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. We'll see. We'll
you-
see Larry's triumphant last shot again. She blocked it with her, I don't know, backpack that holds her guitar, I guess.
yeah, so her lute, right? They're called a
Yeah.
lute.
She blocked it with, well, it's not a lute because she plays it with a bow.
So actually, I don't have a problem with this part because it would take, the arrow would have a little bit of distance to go. It makes, and that object that she used to block it is strong enough to block an arrow.
Yes,
So
and definitely she is just skilled enough to turn around and make sure that that arrow hits the backpack. But whatever.
I'm just saying that the from a conceptual standpoint, up to this point, that's okay. I could live with it.
Yeah, I mean, this didn't break it for me. This broke it for me.
Yeah, that part.
The
Yep.
the the subsonic throwing of the darts, not even throwing knives, these were darts that then killed the guy because she was so accurate, in fact, with them that it looks like they hit just above the leather chest plate. Like stabbed him in both clavicles or something. And he
I
just,
noticed that he also seemed like he twisted and moved, and the knife still hit like the right spot.
yep. She's that good. And then rip Larry. And then, yeah,
Here
throws
we come.
down the cloak.
That whole point, like, was just that was I'm gonna be amazing throwing down the cloak. All right,
But
yeah,
here's
keep
the
going.
other thing.
Why did she pick it? She's got these little hand knives.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. How do you know there's more assassins?
If she knew that they were there, shouldn't she have protected her sister?
Yeah.
That's
Like, but apparently this wasn't like a, oh, well, a lone assassin got my sister. This was, oh, there must be more assassins. I just know there's more
okay.
assassins.
Can I also say that what is with the outfit? Like, that looks like modern textiles.
Their outfits are not great. Some of them
No,
are
but
pretty on
doesn't it?
point. Others are pretty terrible.
But doesn't that screams like 2022 textile manufacture to me?
Eh,
That doesn't look like high fantasy.
it doesn't look terrible.
Well,
I'm
doesn't the
able to
fabric,
overlook
like,
it.
isn't the fabric, it looks like a polyester, like a shiny artificial, not
Yeah, they could have gone with a more matte fabric, but they wanted her to be fabulous. But so she says, "Show yourselves, you fucking bastards!" And apparently these guys, they 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 failed ambush 101 in assassin college because Larry was the only one that brought a bow. So the rest of them are just like, oh, well, okay, we'll come out then. You wanted us to come out. We'll just all come out. And they all come out from every direction. And since Larry was the only one that brought a bow and arrow, none of them come out and just pepper her with arrows to kill her. They revert to form and they try the age old assassin technique of run at her one at a
yeah,
time
one at
until
a
we're all
time.
dead.
We're in a big circle. We'll run one at a time at them.
Yeah, we're gonna run at her one at a time until we're all dead.
And will they slow down right before instead of using their weight advantage?
And so there's some of that and some of that and one at a time, one at a time, one at a time until we're all dead. And then this guy, oh, but wait. Oh, wait, it's not working. Let's try two at a time. Nope, that didn't work either. Let me run away, come back and get stabbed. And then this and some more stabbing. I mean, it's, and then in the last second, he kills the guy because he wants his pendant back. And she runs off and he goes, oh, cool. And he kills that guy. And then there's one guy left. And they don't even time this right. Did you notice he took the hit before he even took the hit?
He was definitely being a stuntman ready for it.
Yes,
You know what? What's the funny thing is, maybe is it something new where we all learned that zigzagging is probably the right way to move in that situation instead
even,
of just a straight line.
I mean, I don't blame him. That was a 1 in a million throw.
I mean, clearly this guy's good with his axe, allegedly. This is what
And it
you're
was
showing me.
funny too, because
He's so good that the guy starts going down before the axe even makes contact.
yeah. And it's funny too, because if you watch it, like you can see that the stuntman hits his mark a little early. Like there must be a mark in the sand where the stuntman's supposed to hit his mark. Watch this. Watch what he does. He runs and then he kind of stutter steps. Oh, right there. Yeah. That was where I was supposed to hit. Like,
And he's like, it's like a receiver in football, like stopping to wait for the ball because that's where he's supposed to get it.
yeah, that's where I'm supposed to take the axe to the back. Like he didn't even sprint. It was the weakest running away I've ever seen, but whatever. And here's the thing. That was a stupid fight scene. The part that pissed me off the most, the throwing the darts with lethal accuracy over an incredibly long distance that she would not be capable of throwing them. That isn't even the part that bugs me quite as much as the fact that the assassins all just step out and run it or one at a time. And here's the thing. One, why was Larry the only assassin that brought a bow? I feel like Larry should probably be posthumously given some kind of award for really upping the ante and demonstrating kind of like really good outside the box thinking for these assassins. So really, if there's paperwork that I can put in to have Larry get a posthumous award, I would like Larry to have a posthumous award. But you could have done some character development here, because I'll tell you right now, this guy and the girl who ran away from him when he said, "That's my fucking pendant," they fall in love by the end of this series.
Wait, are you? Of course, it's a love story, right?
Yeah, it's a beautiful love story, and there's so much character development that happens that shows you how they're slowly starting to fall in love. It's really just amazing. No, it's not. It's shit. They pretty much just talk shit to each other all the time, and then eventually they decide they want to have sex, and after that they love each other. But anyway, you could have started it off right here. You could have started it off right here with, instead of her going, "Come out, you bastards," and them all running at her one at a time, they actually do come out from their cover and they start shooting arrows at her because they all brought bows because they were all as smart as Larry. And then she could have had to take cover because all these arrows are being fired at her from multiple directions. And she has to try and work her way over to one of them. And as she's working her way to one of them, he shows up and kills a different one. And they kind of they work toward each other as the battle kind of just descends into a melee, because now they've got two targets.
It would also function better because while they're all focused on her and shooting their ranged weapons at her, he could come up behind one of the people who's not even looking.
Yes.
And start picking them off, and it actually makes sense because they're not even. He wasn't one of their targets.
On them.
Yeah,
breaks and their concentration. They are no longer able to focus all their effort on a single target, and it gives a good reason as to why they didn't own her. And it helps them develop kind of a bond because they actually fought together instead of him showing up saying, "That's my fucking pendant," and her running away.
Yeah, and it gives it's a more well choreographed, organic fight scene I mean, it doesn't have to be the Raid or Daredevil season 1, but it should have some,
Yeah.
capability.
But this whole thing was just plot contrivance for the sake of the scene they wanted to have. But the scene they wanted to have was it was asinine. It made no fucking sense. Why would trained assassins who just successfully took out one of you with a bow only have the one guy who had the bow, while the rest of them just all step out like, we're about to kick your ass, but we're only going to come at you one at a time. And we know you're a kick-ass warrior because obviously we'd have been told, hey, be careful with this one. She's a kick-ass warrior. But nothing. All just stupid. Just stupid plot contrivance for the sake of getting the fight scene exactly the way we wanted it, even though the way we wanted it made no fucking sense. But
it doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense.
Just doesn't make sense. But moving on, she threatens him, he threatens her, but they both want to go to this signing of a peace treaty that they were, just moments ago saying they weren't going to go to. So they're trying to find a boat. He takes his pendant back, and they're gonna go together to the signing of the peace treaty after they burn her sister. I think they cremate her, and then they go looking for a boat. And then she continues to not care that she got her bodyguard banished and ruined his life, and she made this cool thing, and she talks about how like this will change the world. I don't know why, but like the weather, things are happening. And then we get this stupid scene because they sent for the guy and the girl so that they could be here at this thing, but they apparently did not give them enough time to be here at this thing because this thing is happening and they are not yet there, right? The peace treaty is being signed. Mm-hmm. And they're here signing the peace treaty. There's like a cool speech. And these are the different kings and queens, and they all look stupid and ridiculous because apparently the royalty just likes to dress like really gaudy and awful in this show. And she's got the silly face paint. I don't know exactly why. I guess it's a ceremonial thing. But he comes and she says, I love you, brother. And then he comes and he starts making this great speech about how it's going to be a golden era and everything because they're all going to have this peace and it's going to be great. And nobody seems to care, but several important figures just leave. Like, they just walk out of the room. And people notice them walking out of the room. And I don't know about you, but if I saw that shit, I would stop one of them at some point and be like, hey, where the fuck you go? The king is talking right now. Where are you guys going? Like, I don't like that you're leaving. That does not bode well in my mind. But then she said she doesn't feel good, so she takes her out.
Perhaps I should... oh, come on. Like, really? Really?
What, the ridiculous hair?
Like... well, everything is like, oh, I'm going to retire to my chambers as everybody else has already. This is like straight up, we're about to massacre people, right? This has got to be what's happening.
I mean, yeah, they wanted their red wedding, I guess. So, by the way, the dude she banged who got banished from the land, right? That was his sister, her bodyguard after his banishment. She just murdered his sister and her own bodyguard. Slit her throat.
Because she was still loyal to, I guess, her brother, I would assume.
No. Because she doesn't want to marry that king. She was destined for greater things. She's going to be the empress, didn't you know? Because the High Magister who was talking to the Will-O-Wisp god of the metaverse was...
whoa, wait. How can we talk about how terrible the CGI is right there?
Oh, yeah, it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, like, are monsters normal on this at this point in the world? I
No,
thought
the
monsters
monsters
didn't.
come from the other world.
Yeah, I thought monsters didn't show up until after the thing with the spheres in the Witcher
They
world.
don't. This is like he has figured out how to utilize the obelisks or whatever, these giant obelisks. He can open portals into other worlds. So he's been going into this other world where the monsters are and trying to get this weird will-o-wisp god of the metaverse to give him more power. And this is one of the things that the will-o-wisp god of the metaverse granted him. So that high magister with the deaf signing apprentice, this creature is under his control. And it just shoots them with lightning and they explode into red mist because that's how cool the battle scenes needed to look. Isn't this awesome? Isn't it epic and exciting? This is such a crazy fight.
Wait, and just to circle back to something we talked about at the beginning, this monster that was just shrugging off arrows and swords and everything else is what eventually the Witcher guy is gonna 360 no scope.
Yes, it is. But so that happens, and then she becomes the golden empress of the new kingdom because, and this is where it just gets dumb and weird and stupid to me. Apparently, several of the magisters of different kingdoms and the generals of different kingdoms, they didn't like that the kings and queens of those kingdoms were planning on signing this peace treaty and ending the war. So they murdered all the royal families in one fell swoop so that they could continue the war, but they're not continuing the war. Now that they've murdered them all, they're creating one unified empire under this bitch.
Fun news, I think we got kicked off YouTube at the moment.
Oh, did we?
Policy violations, probably because we were playing even without the audio. It was probably
we weren't playing that much of it. Oh well.
Oh, we're still live on Twitters. We're still on the Twitters. So that's fine.
Yeah, I think this is clearly transformative as far as I'm concerned.
I will be glad to go ahead and stop sharing the screen though. I guess we're still on Twitter. Let's jump ahead. Still images.
Yeah, but like this is, and then she becomes the empress, but they're actually like, these two guys are in charge. She's not. So like they won't let her leave the castle or anything. And she realizes she's a prisoner because they want to make her seem like not such a bad person. And then we go over to this world and I don't know, nothing really happens here. They're just showing that some of the people don't like the new setup and the soldiers will beat them up if they do. And he's asking why they haven't unearthed more of these obelisks. And he's like, well, there's a famine and there's all sorts of problems and like it's not going to go as fast as you think. And he's like, well, I want it to go faster, so fuck you, do it. Because he wants to use the obelisks to open up a portal so that they can send armies into other worlds or some crap. I don't know. But they didn't make it to the signing because there was big storm at sea and they're hoofing it now. And then they're going to kill the Empress because I think they heard about the fact that like all of their family and friends were killed by the Empress. So they're going to go kill the Empress and that's their vow. And this guy's in the prison and I don't really know what's going on with that crap. And they're riding horses and then they're walking over here. And then they do some, like these people are, I guess, refugees moving from one place to another. And they talk about how great she is because she's the one who sings the song, The Black Rose, and they love her. And I mean, it was really just kind of like, let's have this other girl simp for the girl boss character, but irrelevant. And then as they're walking here, she stops him to tell him there's a pit trap. And he says he saw it. And he saw the 130 paces back. But then he decides to walk backwards so that we can have him have a stupid moment where he falls in the pit trap. The next pit trap. And then Michelle Yeoh shows up and puts a knife to her. But then like says you guys are stupid. And she's Ghost Clan. Because Raven Clan, Ghost Clan, Dog Clan. Those are the three clans. Somewhat thematic similarities. But I guess she's like the only Ghost Clan left because Ghost Clan got genocided or something. He wants more power. She tells him a sacrifice is required if you want more power. They have some discussions about how they're going to go kill the emperor or the empress.
Who, by the way, we're back on YouTube. Whatever. I don't know who's if anybody's watching there. Just I think as long as we keep it from still, we're fine.
Okay. Guess we played it for too long or something.
Yeah, it content ID'd probably that clip.
Funny that it didn't content ID the clip before that. Maybe I paused more or something. But he's trying to fix some damage he took. And like, I guess she's like, "Oh, I'll help you kill the Empress too, because they stole our ancestral sword."
Wait, isn't that pendant like a Witcher pendant or something?
No, that
pendant, am I thinking of Geralt had one like that?
There were a couple different pendants for the different Witcher clans, but like, it's not a wolf pendant, so it's a pendant of Dog Clan, I guess. But she tells them that she will help them defeat the Empress, but they suck at fighting. And then she has a little fight with them, and she proceeds to kick both their asses pretty easily because he fights with too much passion, and she doesn't fight well with other people. And then she says, "You're not bad when you're working together." And then she says, "I can work with you." And then she burns her tent, and they go off on their adventure to kill the Empress. And that is the end of the first episode, and I feel like we've pretty much hit time. There's not even a reason to get into episode 2 this time.
It's a debacle. I think let's take a break from The Witcher to just be done with it, because it is a content goldmine. I'll be honest. I feel like we'll be able to get some content out of that.
But like, that is the first episode, and it's absolute and utter garbage. And usually, like, this would be what you would call the pilot episode, right? Usually the pilot episode is the worst episode, or not as good as when you hit your stride, right? Because like, sometimes it takes an episode or a couple episodes for a show to kind of find its groove. Like, not only did this show not find its groove, but I can tell you with every bit of confidence, the next 3 episodes, it just gets worse. It does not improve.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't have much confidence in this show when it got announced, because I thought that the Witcher the first season was okay. The second season was less okay. It was almost borderline bad. Henry Cavill was kind of the thing that I enjoyed most out of those first 2 seasons in terms of his performance as Geralt. So doing a spin-off where he is absolutely not actually involved in it seemed like a bad idea. Like, you're going to make a Witcher show without the Witcher. So I can't, yeah. It's just, I'm making a lot of noises for how bad that is. But
it's mostly entirely based on a couple of footnotes in the books, from what I've heard. Like, the vast majority of what they put together was just shit they made up off the top of their head. And were they exploring part of the lore that hasn't been explored? Yes, but that's just a fancy way of saying this is shit we made up off the top of our head. And then they tied it in the last like 30 seconds. Like, oh, look, see, it was lore. No, none of this was lore. And in all honesty, you violated some serious parts of the lore. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And that was just the first episode. And aside from our content getting suspended briefly for apparently playing a couple seconds too many of their red wedding scene, which they must be really proud of if they're filtering that out.
Yeah, but it was probably already loaded. So what's going to be interesting, so this is like we usually do. We've got our streaming ratings here. This is the week of November 21st through 27th. Nielsen is about roughly 4 weeks behind, about a month behind. So in about 1 month, because Witcher dropped on Christmas Day, I think, on the 25th.
Yes, it dropped on the
the
25th.
on the Blood Origin. So we're going to be able to see, because I want to compare this, because look, Wednesday is a bona fide hit. It's been crushing it in terms of its streaming ratings. I mean, you can see
I'll tell you this.
five. Yes.
I haven't watched all of it. My wife watched all of it, and I saw quite a bit of it. If it's a hit, that's great. I don't think it's going to withstand the test of time. It's trash.
What, Wednesday?
It really yeah, it's trash.
Like I said, I canceled Netflix, so I have no idea. But like we've talked about before, look at this: Netflix, 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 Peacock with Yellowstone, Netflix, Netflix.
I'll give you my quick down and dirty on Wednesday, just real quick, because I do have an opinion. It is noir style Harry Potter, in that she goes to this crazy university where all the weird kids go that have the weird powers. So it's noir style Harry Potter that misses the whole point and tone of the original Addams Family. If you recall, the whole point and tone of the Addams Family was they were weird, and people kind of didn't like them because they were weird. But once the people got to know them, they did like them. That's kind of the whole point, right?
I mean, I actually, like, for me, I didn't watch a lot of the old TV show. I know some people saw those in reruns when they were younger. But I watched the Barry Sonnenfeld movies that with Raul Julia, and they were fantastic. Like, those movies
and
are
the
great.
general idea, the general message and moral was like, yes, the Addams Family was weird, but once people got to know them, they did like them.
Yeah, I think of Addams Family too, when Wednesday was at the summer camp and ended up like with the one dude who was in the Santa Claus.
Yeah, well, this one, as I said, in addition to being noir Harry Potter, the message and moral of this story is people think you are weird because you are different, and once they get to know you, they probably still won't like you, so you should kill them.
I mean, Addams Family always flirted with the murder and the other stuff as part of it.
But it never actually went that far. It does go that far in this.
It does?
Oh, yes. Yes, it does.
That's not good.
Also, there's an undead ghost pilgrim that wants to kill Wednesday. Because they really hate the pilgrims in this. Like, this is all about hating the colonizers. Even Wednesday says awful things about the colonizers. Those fucking pilgrims. Fuck those pilgrims. We really hate those fucking pilgrims.
Like, why would she have... I mean, well, I guess what was because they burned witches, right? Is that a thing?
I don't know if it was
they're upset about.
Yeah, probably because they burned witches and killed all the Native Americans. I don't know. It's just it was the popular new thing to hate, and I think this thing came out sometime in November, didn't it? So they really wanted to get that fuck Thanksgiving out there as quick as they could, I guess.
Was Thanksgiving a part of the show? Like, did that even come up?
No, but think about it, man. Pilgrims, I shit you not, they wear the pilgrim outfit that you always see in Thanksgiving stuff.
With the hat and everything?
Yes, with the hat and everything.
Look, I think
so they want to get this out so that Netflix could shit on your holiday because fuck you, America. We don't like you and your holidays.
Now, if you want to see a pilgrim, outfit done to proper, go watch Solomon Kane. Now that is what a pilgrim is capable of.
But I noticed there's no Rings of Power on there.
No, it dropped off the friggin' planet. Like, that Rings of Power finished up, and it's and to be fair, House of the Dragon did the same thing.
Yeah, House of the Dragon did the same thing.
Like, the modern stuff is once it's finished, it's done.
But go back to original. All right, and then acquired. What is acquired anyway?
Acquired is like when you're a streaming service and you buy the license to it, like NCIS on Netflix.
Okay. Oh, and
Friends on HBO Max, Gilmore Girls on Netflix. These are all shows that
what I've
somebody else made.
This?
That those things are popular.
NCIS, Friends, Gilmore Girls, Grey's Anatomy, Big Bang Theory. Like, people are so sick of the shit that's actually coming out right now that this is all like nostalgia bait. This stuff is all old.
What's funny
Most of
is,
it's not even going anymore.
but and we've looked at the streaming ratings like every week for a long time now. These things are consistently on there.
Mm-hmm.
The other stuff drops off the planet. Like once it's done, people stop watching it. Friends has been off the air what since 20 years ago. It finished
Yeah,
like in
Friends wrapped up a
2000,
long time ago.
and people still watch it. And
So did
apparently,
Grey's Anatomy. Grey's Anatomy has been.
Grey's Anatomy is still going.
Is it?
It is. It's like on season 21 or 22.
Oh my god, I thought it was over. I know my wife
No,
watches it, but I haven't seen her watch it in a while. I just figured it ended.
it's still going on. I make a joke because I know some people who work in healthcare, and I used to do healthcare business management. And I
Mhm.
would the joke for me would always be like the malpractice rates for the doctors in Grey's Anatomy must be through the fucking roof, because there's like every year there's the hospital is being have a plane thrown into it. It's having massive car crashes. It's just there's no way you could function as a doctor with the liability you have incurred. Like the rates would be so tremendously ridiculous. You couldn't be a doctor.
Hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's playing about the way we thought it would, I suppose. But I don't think Rings of Power will ever come back up here. I noticed the original Game of Thrones fell back off too. But if we recall, like um, House of the Dragon did so well that the original Game of Thrones climbed back up into the top 10 for a while there.
Exactly. Now look at this on the movie section, because this is the week of November 21st to 27th, so Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
If you're Disney Plus, you spent probably around 70 to 80 million dollars at least on Disenchanted, which is the sequel to Enchanted.
Yeah.
And it barely clocked over Home Alone, being a rerun from like 1990.
Well, I'll tell you what. I watched Home Alone.
I love Home Alone. I watched it again too.
Yeah, like in the lineup of Christmas movies that we watched this year, Home Alone, Elf was also on there, Surviving Christmas, and Violent Night, which was awesome.
I love Violent Night. I went and saw that in the theater.
I bought it on Amazon Early Access, so
I'm thinking it's going to come on to Peacock soon, because it's a Universal movie, and they
right.
tend, so I would think that once it's been out, they've been doing that. Like after a few weeks of it being on video on demand, it ends up on Peacock. But man, that movie was I thought it was. I loved the Home Alone that they mixed into Violent Night, because obviously you know what I'm talking about with the random villains being home loaned by the child when they were
Yeah.
in the trying to go into the attic. And it just made me, I was in the theater and I was cracking up. It was because they make a point about the thugs are like, everybody's seen Home Alone, and they make a joke like, you're not going to Home Alone us. And then they make just enough tweaks that it still works and it's great. And the idea that Santa Claus is just a simmering violent rage under the surface is hilarious to me.
I don't know. I was worried because with the main character, the main actor who played Santa in Silent Night or Violent Night. What's his name?
David Harbour,
Yeah, I
because
was
he's from
worried because,
Stranger Things.
yeah, he's from Stranger Things, but ever since his accepting of that award where he got just I think he might have been drunk and was just playing to the crowd. I think maybe he's not quite as crazy lefty as some people may think he is, but like I was worried we were going to get a bunch of woke nonsense in Violent Night. And I think there was one kind of throwaway, somewhat woke line with the woman who said, oh, well, my grandfather wouldn't give me the company because he said no woman could run the company, so I had to take what was mine. But then she told her son, you know, I'm proud of you for taking what was yours. So, I mean, that was the closest thing to a woke line I think was really in there. The rest of it was not woke. It was just good. It didn't bother trying to check boxes or be woke. It just gave me a good fun movie with lots of I guess gratuitous violence. The most of the negative reviews I saw for it were like, it's just too violent. And I'm like, you fucking, it's called Violent Night. What did you think was gonna happen? Like Santa was gonna take up boxing and like we weren't gonna see any like gore? It's called Violent Night. I kind of knew exactly what I was getting into after I watched the trailer.
The trailer told you what it was going to be. They make a point of doing it. They're like, they talk about Die Hard. They talk about, I mean, it's, you know, it's hard R. It's going to be
it's
there.
Die Hard meets Home Alone. And I let my 14-year-old daughters watch it and they thought it was hilarious.
And it makes me still want to believe in Santa Claus.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's probably, you know, Santa Claus has probably had those years.
Yep, exactly. Where he's
and I got to give it to that show, especially compared to some of the fight scenes we saw in this show. Violent Night had an amazing final battle.
And I'm talking
amazing fight scenes throughout.
Yeah, I think the shed would be the peak for me.
I think the shed was like the really good, like he's kicking ass battle. But I thought him and John Leguizamo at the end, their one-on-one fight, that was a really good, well drawn out, but not too drawn out, not
fight. And the way he finished the fight,
yes, it was all good.
Awesome.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Yeah, I know. I do because it's in the trailer. What I will say, because it's in the trailer, that it made me laugh because, and I'll bring it up because it was in the trailer when he stuffs the grenade down the guy's shirt.
And he stops down his pants.
He stops and he's like, I've got to watch.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, if you did that, once you're a safe distance away, you'd probably want to turn around and see how that finished.
Now, that being said, grenades don't really blow up that way, but
I mean, let me have the joy.
Yeah, I mean, I suspended my disbelief too. I was okay with that. But I thought it was really good. If you haven't watched it, I'd say watch it, audience, because it's probably the best Christmas movie that's come out in a long time. Several Christmases. This is probably the best one that's come out in several Christmases.
I mean, unless you're into those Hallmark movies, in which case this is probably not going to be for you.
Yeah.
But if you enjoy...
But if I know our audience, some of them will like it.
If you count Die Hard as a Christmas movie, you're fine.
If you think it's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the roof.
Yeah, if you got an advent calendar with him falling down from Nakatomi Plaza.
Yep. Then you need to add this into your regular Christmas rotation.
You can do a triple feature with Die Hard, The Last Boy Scout, and then Violent Night. Because Last Boy Scout also a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Well, so is Lethal Weapon 1. Because that is also... I mean, the first fight in Lethal Weapon 1 is at a Christmas tree lot. So...
Yeah.
It's with actually... that was Anthony Kiedis' dad in that scene, too. The singer... The father of the singer from Red Hot Chili Peppers. So that is a fun bit of trivia that I think I remember seeing in pop-up video when I was younger, which was a fun show that is completely meaningless to kids who just watch music videos on YouTube. Anyway, but that's a good place, I think, to finish up our high recommendation for Violent Night from the two of us. If as long as you are an adult, I don't think it would not be age appropriate for probably under 10s, I would say.
Yeah. But if you got some, you know, teenage kids, they can probably watch it.
Yeah, it is. There's language and violence, no nudity, but the violence is extreme violence,
Yeah.
and the language is fairly extreme for language. Uh, but
It's
if
I I mean, they say fuck a lot and motherfucker
there,
and
I
some
believe
other.
there's a couple C bombs. There's a couple "See you next Tuesdays" in the movie too.
Oh, there's a couple. Yeah, there. I think there's one or two. See you next Tuesdays. Yeah.
Which, by the way, is an atomic level word if you ever want to just get a girl that you're with just not talking to you for a long time.
Oh yeah, that's the kill switch. Like once you engage that, they're done. They're done.
Like basically, if you want silent treatment for a good length of time, that's the word to drop. At least in the in America, I know that that word is
Well,
used fairly
it also depends
regularly
on your
in.
relationship. You're either going to get silent treatment or you have just opened Pandora's box and
Well, that's true. You are a sailor,
all the
so.
screams of the damned are coming your way and you might get clawed in the face.
But then you look at England and Australia, and they're dropping that word fairly regularly. For
Yeah, but they make
like,
it sound fun. They're like, "Oh, don't be such a cunt, you twat."
oh, you just did it. Like, come on. We were doing so good. We were doing, but if you, oh, because you did it with your fake English accent, it's not so bad.
Yeah, I thought that's how it worked. Is that not how it works?
I'm pretty sure that it would still probably be considered naughty language. But it's all right.
We're not monetized anyway. It's fine.
No, we're never getting monetized. It's all right. We're sitting at like 120 subscribers. Thank you, people who subscribe and watch our show. And we do get a little bit more viewers on the Twitters because like we got a decent following there. We get sometimes into the 1,000+ views on that. But monetization on the YouTubes, I don't even know. We know some people who have thousands of subscribers and the watch time and still can't get monetized. Scott over at Sporking News, I'm looking at you. So the monetization is probably it's a dream that probably won't happen. Neither one of us is quitting our day jobs. So with that, thank you guys for listening to our show because it really is not making us any money. It's just something that we enjoy doing. We have taken a couple weeks off because of the holidays. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year coming up. Slender, do you want to share anything? Say anything?
Are we going out on the cool new stinger again? We're gonna use that as our closer for now?
I guess we can do that too. We again, thanks to.
I mean, I like the stinger. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, we'll go out on that. But thanks to Mad Mardigan, Mad Barber Entertainment, who we also do fairly regularly movie watches with on his channel.
Yeah, movies with Mad and
Movies with
Matinee.
Mad in the Mad Cinemas, and they are a great time. I think we both just enjoy doing them more than even the any views that come of it. It's just fun to hang out, but I find them hilarious. I would recommend our audience, whoever isn't already a watcher of those other pieces of content, to check that out because it's great. So
If you enjoy commentated movie clips, for the most part, we'll watch a whole movie, but it's somewhat clipped to get around the copyright gods, so to speak. But if you enjoy commentated movies with in the vein of Mystery Science Theater 3000, you would probably enjoy the movies with Mad.
Exactly, it's good stuff. And so we're going to go out on this intro outro that he created for us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Okay, bye.